Mrs. Smith, housewife. She puts her Vespa to work during the week also. Shopping's not only quicker, it's fun. And for the price of a bus ticket, she gets door-to-door service and over 100 miles to every gallon of petrol.
The scooter's relationship to women was often contradictory. While women were encouraged to take control of these machines, they were still used as an adornment. Sell to the women on the easy-to-use values, sell to the men using good old sex.
Vespa's cheap to run, up to 130 miles a gallon, and what a smooth ride. Get your hair cut, you horrible little man! 6 different models to choose from. A Vespa is the in thing to be heard of. Inspect the Vespa yourself. And go, Vespa!
The two companies also pushed the customer to live the jet-set image of their PR films.
Jill, June, Jane and Jean, like all jays, are migrating birds. They're scooting off for a half-day holiday in France. Neat little models, eh? 12 stone, that's all they weigh. And what a chassis to delight the eye. The scooters, we mean. More motorcyclists are going for a spin across the briny than ever before. It's an idea which appeals to a girl who's slender in the purse as well. Under a £5 is all it will cost each of these lovelies to take a scooter to the continent and back.
The idea of travelling around sunny Europe on these things was extremely attractive. They carried quite a lot of luggage. There was space for a rack on the back and a rack on the front. You could even have luggage carrying capacity where there was a gap in the step-through frame. It was an extremely seductive way of travelling. I'm not sure it was as nice once you were actually doing it, but it certainly it looked that way from the way in which they were promoted.
Piaggio and Innocenti did more than make a stylish product and present it stylishly. The packaging went further. They ensured scootering lived up to its problem-free, easy-to-use image. An international network of dealers and workshops were set up. You didn't need to get your hands dirty with a scooter.
It doesn't work. Now what'll I do? All you have to do is to find the nearest Lambretta service station. And of course, here is an Innocenti placard which tells you exactly where it is. This is the visiting card of every Innocenti dealer and sub-agent.
Say, there's something wrong. The motor backfires. It's not pulling and it won't start.
Oh, that's terrible. Ronnie.
The other key thing was that the wheels being small meant that you could carry a spare. Now, this was, of course, unheard of on a motorcycle, and the fact that the wheels at the front and the back were identical meant that if you got a puncture, you simply changed the wheel, just like a car. It was a much more convenient, user-friendly machine all round because of these changes.
Great pains were taken to display the supposedly feminine machine's masculine prowess by overcoming the hardest obstacles. Scooters took part in the 600-mile Milan-Taranto race and even held their own Isle of Man TT. Soon the public were aping the manufacturers' stunts, doing their best to break these seemingly unbreakable machines. Customization and accessorization were also becoming popular by the late 50s, and the manufacturers offered a large range of clip-on extras. The threatening, heavily customized scooters of the early 60s grew out of this innocent trend. Eddie Grimstead, an East London dealer, turned the trend into an art form. Mr. Grimstead is an unconscious prophet of the new pop and anti-art movement among the young. The relationship of the scooter to the mods is much more complex than whip aerials or foxtails. The mods, like any other youth movement in the early 60s, had to get around. They had to be seen at cafes, clubs and dances. They had to look smart. The mods were into anything Italian. Haircuts, suits and frothy coffee. They adopted the scooter because it was clean. It kept the mud off their zoot suits and it symbolised the modern world. The mod association with the scooter, although initially positive, turned sour. The motorbikers' disdain for the scooter only heightened the mod rocker divide. After the clashes of '64, the scooter had a new meaning. The real nail in the scooter's coffin was much more subtle. The Mini. Cheap transport for the masses, but this time with 4 seats and a roof. It had all the attributes of modern style: little wheels, smoothed off edges, bright fancy colours. Ironically, Innocenti started making the Mini under licence in Italy. When the company got into financial trouble in 1973, the terms of the Mini deal meant that British Leyland took them over. BL saw the Lambretta as a gimmick and stopped production. The establishment pulled the plug, but the mods got the blame anyway. The Vespa fared little better, and sales declined from the mid-60s onward. Piaggio continued to produce the Vespa in competition with the Japanese. The Lambretta is still made under licence, but now in India. It continues to mobilise developing nations. The scooter's success was founded on its fashionability, but that was also its tragic flaw. In the end, the Vespa and the Lambretta simply went out of fashion.